view this evening. There's a lot of breaking news to going around this evening regarding Celtic and ex-Celtic managers. We'll jump into that right in a second, but first of all, we always do what we always do, and that is we jump into the comments section of the live and say hello to everyone that has joined the live this evening so far. And first up, and that was Liam Miles, kind of eight. John O'Brien, also in. That's fine, and just need to do that because we are going to be doing a video. John O'Brien, Nicola was next in, and we need to get the finger out. It's getting beyond the yep joke. Sorry, pressed the wrong button. Jim F is in the house. John O'Brien says, honestly, I think we'll need 5 in. I can't see the board spending around 25 million. Well, watch this space because I think Celtic will go out and back the manager. Daniel says, it looks like Neil Lennon's been sacked. I'm going to read out the full statement from Neil Lennon's ex-team, Rapid Bucharest. I'm going to read out the full statement in that in just a minute. So we'll get some clarification on whether he was sacked or not, or whether it was what they call a parting of ways. But either way, he's left the club. Ceneres is coming in from North London. Daniel Donnelly's in the house. Paul's in the house. Paul McCune's in the house. Stephen Johnston. Big love up to Stephen Johnston's in the house this evening. If you wonder why we give big up to Stephen Johnson, is he can't read or write, and he can only press buttons to get emojis up. So that's why we do that. So we'll give a lot of love to Stephen on this channel. Desmond Donald says Lenny has had a family bereavement, so hope the press don't harass him. Well, the press headlines already is he's been sacked, and we'll go into that in a minute because we'll talk about that first of all. John then goes on to say the Celtic board need to get the finger out. Evening everyone. From Donegal, says Kieran. Michael Ross says hail to the champions. Paul Baird's in the house. Michael Liam is in the house. Derek Don is in the house. Martin and Tony, John Chilpill, John Paul Murray, and Kieran. That's everyone that's on the chat so far. It's currently been 211 viewers. Excellent. Right, I'm going to let you listen to a video first of all of what previous manager let me just do this. On the chat so far is currently been 211 viewers. Excellent. Right, I'm going to let you listen to a video first of all of what previous manager. And just listen to what Ange had to say about
the timing
transfers.
is right. If we've done our sort of planning correctly, we won't be in fear of letting someone go because we've already planned for that. And I think that has to happen. Again, if you look at all the clubs our size who have done well at Champions League level, by done well I mean make an impact, obviously not necessarily winning the competition. All of them have some constants in that they're always in the Champions League and they've always got an aggressive trading model. That's how you make up ground, and for us to be that sort of football club, we have to be the same. By done well, I mean make an impact, obviously not necessarily winning the competition. All of them have some constants in that they're always in the Champions League.
That was the one and only Ange Postecoglou talking about the way that Celtic are run. I'll just turn that back up. Yeah. So Ange talking about the way that the Celtic should be run, and the way that he wanted to do it was to make sure that we had players in, so that if we did lose Matt O'Reilly, we already had a player in. Now we've already done that, so we'll give the board their due. They've got in the one and only Paulo Bernardo. Paulo Bernardo will come in and he will start against the Sevco. Matt O'Reilly looks like he'll be gone this week. Either way, I think that it is the end game for Matt O'Reilly. But that's enough about that. That is And I want to talk about Lennon. I want to talk about Lenny because his team did put out a statement just about an hour and a half ago, and their translation. A lot of people saying that the headlines are saying, "Yep, Lenny's sacked. Lenny's this." Rapid parted. This is the statement as in full. Rapid parted ways with Northern Irish coach Neil Lennon today after only 6 stages of the current season of the Romanian Superliga. Arrived in the summer, Neil did not managed to get any official victory on the bench of Rapid, finishing 5 times in a draw and losing one match. 5 draws and a loss from his first 6 games. Um, and he gets the punt for it. Along with Neil, other members of staff will also leave. And it then goes on to say, we thank him for all his dedication and energy on the Rapid bench, especially since he has been through difficult times lately, and we wish him much success in the future. That is the official statement when it comes to Neil Lennon. And you know the way that media will say it, he was sacked and that was it. But it's sad. It is sad to see a manager getting the sack. But Lennon doesn't help himself, does he? So we wish Lenny all the best, and I'm sure he'll be back on our TV screens in about 2 weeks' time for the Glasgow Derby. Right, so that's I've done that one. Right, we've done the Rapid one. We've done that one. Jeremy Frimpong, yeah. Did you see the post put out by Jeremy Frimpong? I should have got that up actually. As Jeremy Frimpong put up a post on Twitter today from Celtic FC to Bayern, and he's got his treble that he won at his time at Celtic under under the current manager, and then he's got the treble that he's won last season at Bayern. They've got way better trophies. I'm sorry, Scottish football needs to get his act together. Like one's like a shield. One is like a shield. It's unbelievable. But anyway, I'll post that in the comments section later. Now, I'm going to talk about. There's a Celtic site that I don't know why they decided to do it, but I'm not even going to talk about it. No, just cancel that. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm not even going to give them the publication. I'm not giving them the embarrassment of the publication. Right, players that are looking to leave Celtic: Kobayashi, Lagerbielke, Norobski. It's been said Celtic want to get them off the books, and the one and only Matt O'Reilly is another, and as well as Mikey Johnston and Gustav Lagerbielke. So there's a few players that Celtic want. Let's dive into the comment section and talk about the Jota situation. Jota has said, and he has made an announcement, he has said that he wants, I know it's not Bayern, it's fucking Jeremy Frimpong, it's Bayer Leverkusen, isn't it? It's fucking no Bayern. Right, okay, I got it. It's Leverkusen. It's Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen. There we go. Right. Jota, would you have Jota back? It's nonsense. Jota's never going to come back. When you look at it, he was on fantastic wages when he went there, and let's face it, he only had to do 1 year of his 2 year contract, and he's made 10 million. He's made his 10 million. That's more than a lot of Scottish players make in the entirety of their career. I mean, I don't even think that Scott Brown made 10 million out of Celtic over the years, which is I wish Frimpong would get a move on so we could get the sell-on fee. Chilpel says, yeah, I wish so too. Hail, hail, Vaz Lennon back to his Celtic legacy. It takes us from 6 in a row to 10 in a row after Brendan leaves. He didn't take us to 10 in a row, did he though? No, he failed. And for that, he had to leave Celtic. Listen, I love Neil Lennon, right? And I was there the day that Neil Lennon, and you can go back and check the first video. I was there the day that Neil Lennon was made manager. I've always had a special affiliation to Neil Lennon, especially that time that he come over to the corner and he stuck the trophy right down in front of us. When he stuck the trophy right down on the grass right in front of us, I swear to God, half of us were about in tears with joy that day. It was an unbelievable moment. But Neil Lennon is the manager that also had the opportunity to take Celtic to 2 cup finals at Celtic Park, remember. He was a manager that during the Commonwealth year, when Hampden was going to get used for the Commonwealth, the cup finals, the 2 cup finals, were going to be at Hampden. And he couldn't get us to them. He couldn't get us to those cup finals. And for me, he had to go then. For me, he shouldn't have came back to Celtic. And I understand, we all know the reasons why he came back. But the fact that time round, he couldn't motivate the team enough to get to 2 cup finals at Celtic Park, for me, was the last straw. I mean, Neil Lennon did fantastically well. But for me, it was just one of those things where, it's a home game, basically. It's a home game. Getting a cup final at your own ground is a home game. But Neil Lennon, he came back. He did okay with Brendan Rodgers' team, but then when it came in to getting his own players in, um, I'd have more time for Neil Lennon than Brendan Rodgers, says Paul Baird. He started the 9 in a row, but ruined his legacy not getting the 10, says Scotty Boy. Exactly. Get that checkbook out now, says Liam. Baz, Matt is at 90 million. Matt's not at 90 million. We wish he was. He should have left after the 9 title in a row. Yes, he should have left after the 9 in a row, but he didn't. He wanted to try and stay. He had to stay and get the 10. Because if he'd got the 10, let's face it, if Neil Lennon had got the 10, he would have went down in absolute. He would have went down in history, but things went against us that year. A lot of things went against us, and COVID being the big one, and no fans. Even though I was still laughing for this morning, says Hazel. Yeah, did you like the video this morning? Yeah, what was that all about? We need to talk about that first of all. Sorry, John, I seen your comment. I usually delete people when they mention that channel, but I'll leave it on just for you. It's going to be a long 9 days, says Paul. Plunge, we need a better winger than Palmer than Yang. Exactly. A lot of people say that, look, Yang's got potential. When you look at the players that we're now getting rid of, the last manager brought in, they aren't good enough. They're not. And I played that interview with Ange right at the start, and Ange knew the system. He knew that we would have a turnover of players. He also knew that for us to progress as a club, we need to be. And this is coming. Ange was good because he spoke the truth, and he knew where the board needed. The board needs the club to be in the Champions League every year. The board also needs us to sell at least one player for 15 million plus every season, and that's fine. That's fine if we're getting the players in quick enough. I think everyone's dismay this transfer window is the fact that we've all known exactly what we've needed for a long time, and there's been excuse after excuse after excuse. The first excuse that was that the Euros was on, which you can take, yes, and now the transfer window is heating up all around Europe. You've got to say that. I mean, it was a slow start, but Celtic could have made moves quicker, and I don't think that we have made moves quicker. I don't rate Yang, says Lorna. To be honest, Lorna, you're in my group. I don't rate him at all, to be honest. I don't think that he'll ever be. He's nowhere near as good as what Jota is, and I just think that he's not even as near as good as Kuhn. Nico Kuhn can get past players. Yang sometimes struggles with that. Yang and Ohm should be loaned out for game time. Anglin, Ayrshire, I'm not convinced about Palmer. He flatters to deceive. Palmer is a player that thinks he's better than what he is. And you got to remember, he's got the delusion of grandeur that he still thinks he's going to end up in Spain. Ultimately, that's where he wants to be playing his football. He knows that he'll get Spanish residency. We've been South American quite easily. So, anyway, still quite a few players that need to go out to loan or buy. Yeah, there is. There's about 5 players in total. And I'll mention the players again just now. So there's Gustav Lagerbielke. He's on his way out the door. It's looking like a loan. There's Kobe Ashe. He needs to be going out. Before Mark Norobski, Big Rocky, got injured, Celtic were wanting him out the door also. And I've got a funny feeling that this injury is going to leave him with Celtic. I mean, they wanted him out the door also. They wanted the three of them out the door. Um, Mikey Johnson is a fourth one. And then obviously there's Matt O'Reilly. That's the five players. I said four or five, but there's going to be five players that are going to leave this week. That means we're really short. We're really short. We need to get our finger out and get some players in, because let's face it, we're going into the Champions League with just those players, and it's not going to be good at all. It's not going to be good watching. And playing back that interview from Ange when he said, "Look, as long as we've got the players in a conveyor belt, and we sell the players on, it'd be okay." But anyway, Celtic have been a bit quiet this afternoon when it comes to the whole situation with Matt O'Reilly, which means the talks are probably ongoing, and I could see him being down there and getting his medical before the end of the week. It's Tuesday today. If the deal gets done tomorrow, he'll fly down. Even if it's done Thursday, late Thursday, he'll travel down on Friday. People are saying it's going to be done and dusted within the next 24 to 48 hours, which is probably right within the timeline. But who do we get in? Do we go for the Manchester United? Oh, wait a minute. The Burnley are interested in Hannibal also, who's in the last year of his contract. You think if we were going to go for Hannibal when he is in the last year of his contract, that we would have made a move. But you know the board, they're going to hang off and then try and make a move for a player. Will they go for Hannibal from Manchester United? I don't know. Not the fact that Burnley are now in for him. We seem to not be able to cope with, and will he take a cut in wages ultimately to come to Celtic? That's probably the biggest issue that Celtic has with the remaining transfer. I hear that the Champions League package is going to be something up to £200 as well. Lauren, you knew it was going to be that, because for 3 games it's around about 100, 150, 140. For the 4 games, it's going to be closer to the 200. So you know you are going to get 4 games. Palma is too greasy. Too greedy. That should be. It takes on too many players. Paul says. Desmond says definitely need to strengthen left back, centre back, centre forward. We need somebody in midfield. We need 2 players in midfield. Brendan Rodgers says so. There's going to be a lot of movement. Young and Palmer are not great. Forrest is better, and that's saying something. That Forrest at his age. Do you know that Forrest at his old age is? He's not old, is he? He's only 32. He's still got. People can say what they like about James Forrest. He's still got at least 2 years left in him at this level, easily. Can he then go back and play further back the pitch? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Scotty Boy says he reckons we need a left back, centre back, striker, and a winger. Matt O'Reilly goes, we need a centre mid as well. Brendan Rodgers has already said that we need a centre mid, because if you look at the players that we're getting rid of, if we get rid of Odom and anyway, it is what it is. Eagles and Sanchez for me, says Jeff Ray. 10 days to go, and no new faces in except Casper and the other keeper. It's not good enough, says John. Forrest has been great recently. Forrest has carried on the form that he had from last season, which is fantastic. But it has to be said, we're shouting out for a left back. There's rumours going around this morning that the young left back at Celtic that we do have as backup, but can't get a seat on the bench, is going to go out on loan to a first division club in England. So we'll see how that goes. McGowan, 1 million, not even a layout or a risk, says Kevin. This is true. That is true. There's someone mentioned that Yang beat a player. He can't even beat an egg. It's going to be 2 players brought in on loan, says Scotty Boy. Don't say that, because that will leave us really short. And going for I know that Brendan Rodgers wanted a smaller squad and a squad of better players, but we're still way short. Yang has no end product yet. He's terrible trying to get the ball into the box. He's absolutely woeful, to be honest. Left-sided cabs should be priority. Lauren says it works both ways with the money. If they want £200 for 4 games, they need to give us something too. The board will never change for as long as we're buying tickets and strips. Yeah, that's just the way that Celtic are, and Celtic are playing the modern day game of football, really, aren't they? They're making sure that they can maximise the revenue as much as possible to then. I mean, it leaves us in a good position, but I've said, I mean, folk were saying, Baz, you're moaning at the start of this transfer window. We're down to 10 days to go. I mean, people were saying it on this site all the time. I mean, you're moaning about the transfer window. Yet here we are, still in the same position. And I was right. Do you know, I was right about what was going on at the club back at the beginning of July. The beginning of July, when the transfer window opened, we knew the players that we needed. We were linked with how many goalkeepers? Um, we were linked with Kasper Schmeichel. And listen, I'm not complaining about the goalkeeping situation. I think what Celtic have done in the goalkeeping department has been absolutely fantastic. But when you look at the outfield player situation at Celtic, we're now going into the final week and a half of the transfer window, the last 10 days of the transfer window, and we're looking to offload players. We're looking to offload players, and we still haven't brought in any new outfield players to make the squad stronger. Now, Brendan Rodgers was asked the question, would you like to get players in to make the squad stronger before we let players go? And I played the interview right at the beginning where Ange Postecoglou says, well, that's the way that he would do it. As long as we keep doing that, you can have a conveyor belt of talent. You can have a conveyor belt of talent coming into Celtic. But then you will know the knowledge that players are only going to be here 1 or 2 seasons. And if Celtic were doing it right, and if Celtic were getting the talent in early enough, we wouldn't mind. Celtic fans would understand the model. The model seems to be getting last minute stuff. We seem to have went backwards slightly. And I know that it's hard to try and get the players in that we wanted, and there's going to be a few players that we've not been able to get this transfer window. The first choice players that the manager maybe wanted, but the board were maybe too slow in acting. He was given a better wage offer. Do you know, there's all these permutations that we need to think about. Anyway, good evening, Baz, says James Kennedy. Stuart Kerry says, agree, Baz. The goalkeeper situation is fine. It's other areas. Yeah, it is fine. I'm completely at ease with what Celtic did with the goalkeeping situation. Left back, we've known since Christmas. We tried to get a left back in at the Christmas window. Why haven't we moved quicker to get in some competition for Greg Taylor? It can only be a good thing for Greg Taylor because he'll up his game again, the exact same as he did when Bernabe came in, and hopefully it makes him even better. You know, if a player comes in that's better than Greg Taylor, then fair play. Do you know what I mean? It is fair play, and Greg Taylor would rightly lose his position to a better player. But until that happens, we've never even tried getting someone. It seems hail from an Irishman in Crete, and there we go. Declan, big shout out to Declan, an Irishman in Crete. Do you stay there or are you on holiday? Raymond says Brighton offer 26 million plus 10% for when they sell him. Yeah, I read that earlier, but I think Celtic will try and get to the 15%, and that's probably what they hold up in the talks. And they'll come in with 26 million, some add-ons that if he achieves certain things, if he plays certain amount of games, etc. If they get into Europe, you know, there'll be all these other add-ons. If they stay in the Premier League, there'll be add-ons like that. But then ultimately, if they've come in with 10%, that means that they're bargaining. Do you know, they've went in with a low offer. They know that Celtic are probably wanting in the upper side of the 30%. So then it's about meeting somewhere in the middle. So if they've come in with 10% straight away, you're kind of maybe hoping that Celtic can get to that. You know, Jeremy Frimpong. We got 30% sell-on clause with Jeremy Frimpong when we sold him for 10 million. Fair enough, that was a good few years ago, but we got that 30% sell-on clause then. Maybe that's what's been holding other teams off because they're thinking they're wanting 30% of any future sale of the player. Is he really that good that we can turn this player around? Now, Brighton will think, yeah, he is. He's a player that we can turn around from 25, 30 million and we can double our money. You'll be able to sell Matt O'Reilly in a season and a half's time for 60 million. Easily. easily. When you see the players that are going for 50 million in the English Premier League, and I never get how I mean, some of the players that are going for 50 million, they're having a laugh. They're having a laugh. You're having a laugh, aren't you? You're having a laugh. Some of the prices that players go for that are 50 million. Daniel Kelly's passed his medical. Daniel Kelly has passed his medical. It's just flashed up in the sky that you would expect that. So he's now a Millwall player. Who cares? Greg Taylor, a new contract now. Give Greg Taylor a new contract now. Taylor is not Champions League. We brought in Matt for pennies. Point being that you don't have to spend tons of money to get great talent, says Jason. Yes, that's true. But Brendan Rodgers said, look, we can go out and spend 9 million and buy these £1 million players and they're prospects. Let's face it, Matt O'Reilly was a prospect, and it's a prospect that worked. Brendan Rodgers also said, look, you can spend 6 million on a player that's got a little bit more experience, a little bit more of a track record, and a little bit more of we know what he can do and we know how much he can progress. You can then take that £6 million player and you can turn him into a £25 million player quite easily. It's very rarely do you find a £1.5 million player. Very rarely. You could count on one hand how many times it's happened over the last few years. But you can take, it's very rarely you get a £1.5 million player and you turn him into a 25 million. Celtic got lucky because they knew the situation. They'd been monitoring Matt O'Reilly when he was at Fulham. They kept tabs on him as soon as he went to MK Dons, and at the first opportunity, they went in and bought him for the release clause of 1.5 million. They knew the history of the player. Matt O'Reilly would never have costed 1.5 million if we'd bought him from Fulham. Not a chance. If he had agreed another contract with Fulham, you would have been paying 6 million for him quite easily. So it's to say that we don't have to spend a lot of money. It's true, but it is very rarely, and Brendan Rodgers knows that, look, we spend a little bit more. We spend 6 million on each on 3 players. You're getting a player that we have a bit more data on. You've got to remember, the modern day manager, and Brendan Rodgers has always been highly focused on data for players. He's always, he looks at the stats till he's blue in the face. He'll see, before he even looks at a video footage of a player, he'll ask for the paperwork and see the stats and see where he's good, see where his good points, his bad points, and he'll look at that before he watches a VT, before he watches any video footage of a player. He'll sit and look at the stats and he'll go, right, I can work with that, or I can't work with it. It's as simple as that, and that's the modern day game. What do MK Dons get in the selling clause? I don't know, Liam. I don't know if they get anything at all. Chilwell is shocking. Give him 40 grand a week. Look, Matt O'Reilly's gone. We talk about this all day long. Desmond Donnelly speaks sense to twin Alistair Johnson, and I've missed Desmond Donnelly. Wish Alistair Johnson have a left foot twin brother. Yeah, exactly. If Alistair Johnson had a left-footed twin, if he could get someone with a left foot that was as put the boot in as much as Alistair Johnson, we would be absolutely flying. And is it the case that the left back has? There's a comment. There's the poll. We'll do up another poll. There's 511 people on. We're going to do a poll. Start a poll. Right, I've got a poll for you. And the poll is the left back's position our weak point in the Champions League? Is the left back position 100%? Yes. Yes. No. This is going to be an interesting one. So there's the poll is flashing in. 515 viewers and 117. Smash the thumbs up button, please, says Zhead. Big shout out to Zhead. Chilpel says, Low Bruce. Palma has found Izagiri's old hair gel stash. Oh my God. John says Alistair Johnson is as hard as nails. Yes, he is. Lorna Gallagher says the Flying Haggis. I read you the wages and I said and Matt gets 16. Yeah, Matt's only on 16 grand a week. Hence the reason that he's going to more than triple his wages when he goes down south. Hi, Baz. I think that making a massive mistake leaving us this season. Big blow unless we replace him with a 10 million quality pound sign. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Not left back, but the left sided centre back. I should have changed. Can you change? Can I edit it? No, you can't. You can't edit. Is the left back and the left centre half then? Is that the poll is what it is. There's 99 votes in already, 100 votes in already, which is good. The poll is absolutely on fire tonight. Let's jump back into the comments. No weak point is left-sided centre back. Don't have a poll, but I have a frog, says Kevin. I think Kevin knows the Rangers accountant that was on the video this morning. Yes, I could. It took me 3 times to record that this morning. It took me 3 times to record it because every time I listened to it, I was just like, he was like, yeah, yeah, everything that happened, back in 2012, 14 years ago, I was in stitches. In stitches. Scotty says, I don't understand why Celtic never use the money to stretch away from Selfco. They never do. They spend just enough to get just in front, and stay in front. And I think it's going to take till Celtic are sitting with 250 million in the bank. Do you know the Celtic? A Celtic try to be the Man United of the 1990s. Because remember at the time, it was a massive, massive thing when Man United sat with 100 million in the bank. I mean, gone are those days, but it was. I mean, you were still buying players. You were buying players for the kind of money that we're buying players now, when they were sitting with 100 million in the bank. So you've got to say kind of hats off to the Celtic board for doing it. But why don't we pull away from them? We should have buried them in 2012 rather than this nonsense that goes on now. Scales is die-hard, last-ditch defender, has strength, but going forward, dearie me, yeah, I wish Scales wouldn't go forward. He leaves us cut open sometimes. Jason Lee says we need to be in European Super League if we want to hold on to talent like Mattarelli and Jota. Now, even if we were in a European Super League, you're not going to get much more than you're getting in the current Champions League. So, getting the 50 million a year and still having the exact same policy of selling on players, I think that the board will not change or deviate from that. But where we have went backwards since the first year that Ange walked through the door is that we don't have the conveyor belt of players that we were kind of promised this new dawn. You remember 3 years ago, it was a new dawn. It was a new dawn. It was a new way of running the club, a new way of looking at transfers, getting in a conveyor belt of players so that we could sell them on. And whether you like it or not, Paulo Bernardo is the man that's going to step in for Matt O'Reilly. Can Paulo step up to the mark? I think Paulo is going to be a fantastic player for Celtic, and I think he's going to run the show in midfield. And I think in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to hopefully be sitting going, do you know, you've forgotten about Matt O'Reilly the same way as you kind of forgotten about Aaron Moy when Aaron Moy kept Matt O'Reilly out the Celtic team. So yeah, there we go. Scales and Taylor are bomb scare, says green, white, and gold. Anyone interested in the Sevco, we should avoid it. We should avoid anyone that's interested in Sevco. We should avoid. Remember thinking he stole Palmer from him. Yeah. Anthony says Celtic team is weak on the left side. Taylor gets pulled in field all the time. Yes, he does. He doesn't get pulled in field. It's still similar to the way that Ange played, where the two wing backs were brought in midfield to sit in front of the two defenders, and then the two defenders. Tactically, it should work. Tactically, it should work because it should leave you three at the back. If Alistair Johnson is hanging back, but when I wish I had one of those boards that they have on the telly. When Greg Taylor comes into that holding midfield role that is usually covered by Callum McGregor, because Callum McGregor's further forward, he's basically making sure that there isn't a gap between the two defenders. So he's sitting sort of in the middle, and teams target that. Teams target that, but because we're such an attacking team, we should really be. I mean, what's meant to then happen is Liam Scales come over to the left hand side, Cameron Carter Vickers goes into the middle, and Alistair Johnson makes up a back three. So in reality, we should then go to a back three. But what generally happens then is Alistair Johnson's punted away up the side of the pitch, and it leaves us short. But it is what it is. It's tactics, and it's we need to invest in one of those iPads and drawing boards, and we'll get it up on the screen, and that'll take this channel to the next level. Anyway, we need to figure out how to do that. I think Scales will progress, says Johnny. The Celtic team is weak on the left-hand side. We've done that. And Pat Maguire says Scales has no positional awareness. A good defender knows where to judge moves. Scales doesn't have that. Pat, I'm not too sure. It is part of our tactics. Who's everyone wanting in the Champions League? Well, remember, it goes to a league formation. A league formation in the Champions League this year. Is John a current bun? Safe call there. Good on you, Lorna. I didn't even see the message. I've got it open doors, but I've got an open doors policy, and it's they're all welcome. They're all welcome. I'll just make sure that it's hidden by channel. Hide user from channel. So he won't even be able to comment ever again. Bye, John. Bye, John. I always love it when somebody called John comes on, because it's, remember, doesn't matter, I'm going to go on a bit an Arnold Schwarzenegger film. I'm not listening to any of the pricks, says Lorna. Right, I didn't even see what the comment is. So good marksmanship, Lorna. The snipers, those snipers are on patrol. We hate them. Yeah, we do hate them. Trolling and abuse. I don't care what they even said. Anyway, Kevin says the big white wall behind you. There is a big white wall behind us. And anyway, right, let's move on and see what other Celtic news is kicking. But there's not a lot of Celtic news kicking around this night, because Gustav Lagerbielke, he's obviously, it's not a done deal, admits but it is ongoing. I think they're trying to get him on loan, and Celtic are trying to sell them. This seems to be the issue. The reason that Kasper Schmeichel snubbed Premier League clubs for Celtic, well, it's because Brendan Rodgers phoned them. I don't even know why that's even a fucking issue now. But yeah, it is what it is, as they say, right? How is the poll doing? The poll, the question asked was, is the left back position a weak point in the Champions League? We've had 167 votes, and 75% have said yes. Only 167. There's 508 people on the channel watching this right now. 508 people, and only 172 votes. But you've got to say, I'll keep it on until it hits the 10-minute mark or so, and then we'll call it quits for there. We've had over 1,644 viewers on the channel this evening. It's getting very late for decent players coming in. It says Celt 67. I'm just watching Sky News. Paul Kane says, what film? It's the film where Arnold Schwarzenegger is after a guy called John, and then one of his mates, and he breaks the neck. He breaks the neck of one of his mates on an aeroplane, and then he jumps into the underneath of the aeroplane. So tell me if you can get it from that, if you're a big Arnie fan. He then jumps into the undercarriage of the aeroplane, and then jumps into a swamp. As you do. As you do. And as we all know, you can't just sort of go under an aeroplane and get into the undercarriage. But Arnold Schwarzenegger did it. Arnold Schwarzenegger did it in this film. And then he jumped into a swamp. And then he gets his watch, and he's got to try and find his daughter. There you go. So tell me the film. 174 likes. Make sure you get more. There's 497 people still on the channel. Oh, don't do this to me. The views. Quick jump up. Yes, it is. Paul got it in one go. Commando. That's one of the best films ever. It is one of the best. I didn't want to come and say it. It's nice playing a little game, but it just shows you how many Arnold Schwarzenegger geeks are out there. Commando. Yeah, they did such a shift with the channel bus. Hope you've done burnt out, mate. Enjoying it. Nah, Gregory, it's not a. You're not going to get burnt out doing this. The lives and that's easy. I generally take about 2 or 3 days off this a year. It's not work. Do you know what I mean? It's not work. For me, it's not work anyway. It's enjoyable. When you do something that you don't enjoy, that's when you call it work. But this is absolutely brilliant. What time are you on tomorrow morning? It's always 9 o'clock in the morning, Celtic part time. It's generally not a live first thing in the morning because folk are going to work and stuff. But as the transfer window gets closer, there will be lives in the morning. But as it stands just now, we just do recorded videos in the morning. It's a lot easier. But it's not easier actually. It's just you get paid a little bit more. uh, Best luck to Matt, but Brighton, yeah, Commando. Sure, tonight it was the twins with Danny DeVito. Oh, jeez, thank God it wasn't that. Yeah, it was Commando. But John Matrix, that's it. Yeah. Walking about with it. Oh, it's a brilliant film. I'm going to hate to watch that this weekend. Oh man, need to watch that this weekend. Jesus, I watch it on Sunday. Mrs. is working. Let me try and see if I can get it. Used to play a Commando game on Spectrum. Oh my God, that's going way back. Anyway, we have 202 votes. 202 votes. 77% said the left back position is a weak point in the Champions League. And the reason that we're talking about that is since the last transfer window, Brendan Rodgers has known that Norwich have just done a deal for a Croatian under 21 striker at 8.5 million. You can't make it up. So will Celtic give Norwich 8.5 million for Adam Ida? Norwich then go out and get a Croatian striker for 8.5 million. Interesting. Interesting. There you go. And who said that there wasn't good deals going around at that price? It just shows you. It does just show you. I'd go Commando. Is Matt away? Liam says. Is Matt away? Well, he more than likely is away. It's nothing is official yet. Celtic transfer X are not a done deal. But it looks like the bid that they are putting in is 26 million plus add-ons. Um, I didn't even want to look at the Matt O'Reilly news. I think once Celtic once Celtic announced that, we'll start talking about it again. As far as I'm concerned, it's balls. Commando Buzz is cheesy but entertaining, but cheesy. Exactly. It is cheesy. It's not like the war films that you used to get, but it's a cracking film. If you want a bit of Sunday comedy, watch that. Uh, Deal for me. Deal for me, says Kevin. Scott Boy says, you don't get burnt out, Baz. That's your life. It's your family. It's ours as well. We love the channel. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think you can get burnt out when you've got to do a lot of content creation. And with this channel, I'm lucky. I don't have to think up new things to video and do you know it's like the content's there. The content's pretty much laid to you on a plate. I've got a mate who does well over 1 million views a month, and but he's got all the added costs. He needs to go places and film, and he needs to film for about 3 or 4 days at a time, and it's just that knackers you, and you can get burned out for that. He's lucky that he doesn't have to do it all the time. And then I know another guy that he does daily videos also. He's got nearly 100,000 subscribers. Maybe he's got more than 100,000 subscribers actually. but he's having to come up with new ideas and new videos every single day, where this pretty much just falls on your lap. And as long as you're quick off the mark, and the fact that this channel isn't a new channel, this channel's been around for years, but this concept of the channel is only really going into our third season. Do you think the board will listen to Brendan Rodgers when they tell him to do more? Um, I think Paul. I think Brendan will will the board listen? They listened when, as soon as Kyogo went down with his shoulder, and Brendan Rodgers turned around and looked up to the main stand, and the board were like, "Shit." It was amazing how quick we got the Adam Ida deal done then. Do you know, it was like, it's amazing how quick that deal got done on the Monday morning and the Monday afternoon. So I think when the board get their finger out, they can get things done quick. Whether we can get 5 players in is another question altogether. The running man is Dyson. He is that, isn't he? Little Hun Herbert's sitting in there is watching this and foaming at the mouth. Celtic rule this gaff. Celtic rule the internet. And what's really funny for me is, I mean, I know that Ryan's got a big channel. He's got a massive channel. This Celtic TV's got a massive channel, but they don't do stuff really on a daily basis. And I think for me, one of the funny points is that two channels that do consistently over 400,000 views a month is myself and John and then Axom, Celtic State of Mind. And I think that's brilliant. You've got two Fifers that do nearly 1 million views a month. That will do regularly 1 million views a month between us. We do 1 million views a month, which is way more than the majority of other Celtic channels out there. So that gives me a little bit of a nod, considering that I don't earn the money that Axon makes. And I'm not a limited company. Anyway, Celtic own Scotland and all that. Yep, to do. But is that enough? Is winning the league in Scotland? We're on 221 votes. I'm going to let the poll run for another couple of minutes. Is winning the league in Scotland, winning the treble in Scotland, being dominant in Scotland enough now? Is it enough for us as fans? We've had that. We've done the 9 in a row. It was exciting. It was a fantastic time. Even going back to under Ronnie Dyler, going to out games then was brilliant. It was fantastic. The camaraderie, the togetherness of the away fans and everyone that went to football under Ronnie Dyler was amazing. Do you know, even though there was that big section that Celtic couldn't sell out at Celtic Park at the time, put my disguise back on, it was an amazing time. But is it enough? That's going to be the question for tomorrow night. Is it enough to just win the league in Scotland anymore? Because I don't think it is. I think that we need to. I mean, look at that mob across the road. They're in a financial ruin. They're in financial ruin, but they've had good runs in Europe. They've had good runs in Europe. How have they had good runs in Europe? Do you know, they've never spent the money that we've been spending, but they've had better runs in Europe. Baz, did you see the programme being released to Celtic TV called Inside the Huddle? Yes! Paradise is ours. Paradise is ours. And it will be content from Inside the Huddle from past games. I don't think they'll do it from games that are current. We'll wait and see. But it's good to see that Celtic, and they'll more than likely put a lot of that content out on Celtic TV. They won't put it out free to air on YouTube. They maybe put trailers out on YouTube, but I think the majority of that content will be for Celtic TV, because remember, Celtic did employ a guy from Apple last year who's all about paid prescription, and all the content that he wants Celtic to create. He wants it to go through Celtic TV so that Celtic TV can get the monthly reoccurring subscriptions rather than I don't know. I mean, Celtic must do about 1 million views a month. So, I mean, that won't cover the costs. The ad revenue that Celtic get from Google is just an extra add-on. It's just an extra add-on. And it won't even cover the cost of probably two or three folk in the media department. Maybe cover the wages of one of the guys that does YouTube stuff, but then that's it. He's all about making sure that we get as many people as possible around the world onto a monthly paid subscription to watch Celtic TV. And that's where a majority of that content will go. But it'll be interesting to see if it does or not. Right, we'll get 229 votes. It is at 76%, 76% yes, and 24% no. I'm going to end the poll in 10 seconds. And I bet we'll lose 1%, because we always seem to lose 1% when we end the poll. 229 votes. We'll wait till we get 230. If there's anybody left to vote, just vote now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then that's it. The poll's done. Done it again. We've lost 1% off the no. 229 votes, lost 1% off the vote. It always does that. Left back position is weaker. Yes, 76%. Right, Scotty Boy says Celtic will be better. Yes. Yeah, they'll be Derby games 50-50 for Hampden. They'll never do that. Zedhead Baz, do you use VPN or post via Scottish IP address? You keep the Spanish, just Spanish IP? Spanish IP. Searching for Matt Riley updates today. Lesser channels come up before yours. It was strange. If you're looking for, it's because they're targeting. I'll let you into. They'll be targeting keywords only. So if you're looking for a Matt O'Reilly update, I don't target keywords anymore. I don't target search traffic, because search traffic is just a tiny percent. I targeted search traffic when it was the computerized voice that I had running the channel. I targeted search traffic then. I do not target search traffic at all. I don't put tags in anything. I let the algorithm. The algorithm knows my viewers, and it pushes out my content out to those viewers. So that's why the lesser channels, when you do a search, if you go Matt O'Reilly transfer update, their video will be called Matt O'Reilly transfer update. I don't tend to go for that, because at the end of the day, anyway. Just a little insight into the channel. If O'Reilly goes, do we need to get we need to get the collective finger out and at least 5 first-team players in? Need to be brought in. Yeah, we all know that. Monty. Martin says, it reminds me when we had an upgrade at Paradise and used Hampden. Never embarrassed ourselves. No, we didn't. And Hampden, I think we sold out a lot of the games as well. I think that fans deserve better performances in the Champions League. Yes, they do that. To do that, you need to bring in better, more experienced players, not prospects. And Brendan Rodgers knows that. Am I right or am I Yang? He's pish, get him out. That was Huntiers. It was great. Jerry McCulloch is abysmal. Oh, poor Jerry. Tom Boyd is worse. Tom Boyd's a good Fifer, man. He's not for Fife, he's got a lot of fan on Fife. All of us here are real fans. Yes, they are. That Joseph. Monty's getting one of the last comments of the night. We've been on for 52 minutes. There's been 1,961. It slowed down about the second half of the hour. We've done really well the first half of the hour. I should have just shut it off then. 1,961 viewers on the live tonight, 399 currently. I would sell Iwata, Yang, and Palmer. Yeah, Iwata's a great player. I'd keep him, says Chilpill. That's one that would. Oh, that would split the fans, that one, because I think that they see Iwata as a replacement for Callum McGregor in Callum's current position. Callum is better further forward on the left-hand side, but I think Matt O'Reilly, fucking on the brain. I think Brendan Rodgers wants to extend the career of Callum McGregor in a similar way that he did do with the one and only Scott Brown. Anyway, no chance, can't sell Iwata. Lorna Gallagher says, cheers, Baz. Have a great evening to everyone. And let's hope that when we wake up tomorrow, well, we'll probably have come to the conclusion that Matt O'Reilly has left Celtic. We are on 18,187 subscribers. Absolutely fantastic amount of subscribers. We are on the road to getting to the 20,000 before the end of December. And it's hard to be excited about the fact that we're about to lose O'Reilly when we've not really got players in. But on that note, have a fantastic evening to all you.